It's been happening in one form or another for some 90 years, these gatherings to promote the art of congregational singing.
The Hymn Society for me is sort of a spiritual renewal.
An oasis in the desert. It's been a kind of a shelter in the time of storm. It's a place where you can come and really recreate and regenerate your energies and enthusiasm.
Is the best place to feed me spiritually, academically, and practically as a musician.
The key part has been for me watching the networking, and it begins often just with the experience of singing in a large assembly that love music, love hymns.
They are pastors, church musicians, hymn writers, poets, college and seminary professors, and people from varied walks of life who just enjoy coming together yearly to become familiar with what's new in the evolution of this vital element of any congregation's worship service, singing.
Hymns are a way to express our faith, to respond to God's goodness in our lives, and to say the things together in worship that need to be said, whether it's praise or prayer or confession. The words of the hymn allow us to do that, and more than just voicing those ideas individually, hymns allow us to express those thoughts corporately as the body of Christ gathered for worship.
Singing in a congregation is one of the most powerful ways that people participate in the life of the church.
They're really the performers before God who is in the audience, and the audience of our worship and our praise. And how we prepare those performers, or our congregations, if you will, is so important.
For years, the Hymn Society's main focus has been the annual conference, a yearly time of fellowship, networking, attending workshops on elements of worship, getting acquainted with new hymnals and other resources, and participating in one of the most inspiring singing experiences anywhere.
I always come away having learned so much, whether it's in the plenaries or in the sectionals. I always come away with a handful of new hymns to bring home, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite weeks of the entire year.
But the Hymn Society is now embarking on a fundamental shift in how it functions to respond to the needs of a changing world.
We have come to discern an idea called the Center for Congregational Song. This would be not a bricks and mortar place, but a gathering point, a focal point from which we could launch resources that are needed both online and in localities around North America.
Instead of only doing what membership dues allowed the Hymn Society to do, the Hymn Society now wants to take its members' expertise to the church's people all across North America, to channel the skills and know-how embodied in its membership and make them accessible to a much wider audience.
It's really an outreach that we've never undertaken before. If you're going to be an institution advocating strong congregational singing, you almost have to practically demonstrate how that might be done.
Here's what the Center for Congregational Song would look like. It begins with a totally revamped website, one that provides far more than can be offered now. It includes teaching webinars, interactive online instruction, short training sessions from Hymn Society members,
as well as printed resources that are housed in an online electronic format.
In addition, regional conferences would be offered so that people who can't travel to the annual gathering would still be able to learn from each other and be energized by a small-scale conference to be held in various places around the country.
We want to kind of build that network not just here, but out in the field as much as we can, both in the U.S. and Canada.
The Center for Congregational Song would offer ways to do more of what the Hymn Society does at the yearly gathering, bring composers and poets across various genres together to encourage the creation of new works and teach the art of hymn and songwriting.
I don't know anybody else who is doing what is being proposed here by the Hymn Society, and it surely needs to be done.
Another important task of the Center for Congregational Song would be to respond to the needs of pastors who find themselves in congregations with no trained musicians and are untrained themselves.
And they find that they must be the ones to lead the hymns and to encourage the church's music, but they don't have the skills to do that.
A two-day first-of-its-kind workshop on that topic was offered at the 2013 annual conference led by John Thornburg, focusing on the pastor's role in using music in the life of a congregation. It's the kind of information that will be offered to colleges and seminaries that have been cutting back on music-related training.
How do you choose the hymns? If there's a new text that you'd really like to use, how do you find the tune that suits it well and that your congregation can sing?
It's very important, and the church dearly needs this kind of preparation in their clergy.
The Center for Congregational Song would be a teaching place, a growing place, a meeting place, the many places where people who want to know how to better honor God through song in worship can find the tools they need.
In the past, we've been sort of bounded by what we could do based on what funds we had available. In this particular vision for the future, we're trying to figure out what it is we need to do and then go and find the funds for it.
This is obviously the next step, because people will continue to come to the conferences. They will continue to have the same things which benefit them now, but with an expanded influence.
The result is a campaign to boost the Hymn Society's endowment to provide the funds to offer resources to all who are engaged in the work of giving voice to the church's worship of God through song.